Hey y'all, the news is in. We have a new galactic legend. Galactic legend, Jedi Master, General Kenobi. I'm excited for this, but I'm kind of conflicted, and I'll go into that in a second. But before we touch up on our new Jedi Master Kenobi, I want to mention another new character that was mentioned today, and that is Commander Ahsoka Tano. I'm extremely excited for her release because I'm a huge Ahsoka fan. She is, to my knowledge, going to be released like the Razor Crest is being released, so that's pretty bad news because it means we won't be able to, it might, depending on what star level she activates at, we won't even have access to her for a really long time. And then when we do have access to her, I mean, we can't take her to Gear 13 and whatever else we want to do. So it's a little disappointing that that's how they're choosing to release her. But apparently she's going to be significantly better than our marquee event character, but not as good as some of the epic confrontation characters. So it'll be interesting to see how her kit works and stuff. And it's very exciting that they're adding her, but it's not gonna be it's not gonna be content that we can access for a long foreseeable amount of time. So if you were happy about that, don't be too happy. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. So now let's address the elephant in the room that is Jedi Master Kenobi. This is good and bad in my opinion. For lots of people are going to be very excited to have a new Kenobi. And I wanted Galactic Legend Kenobi, but I think the way that CG is releasing it is screwing over the player base. And that's because of the requirements that they're putting alongside, and that's only with seeing just a portion of the requirements. So they posted the first batch of requirements, and I'm going to read those off to you, and then I'm going to discuss them. So first off, we have General Kenobi at Relic 8. Then Negotiator, 6 stars. Mace Windu at Relic 3. Aayla Secura, Relic 3. And Bo-Katan at Relic 5. Now, these requirements are pretty ridiculous. And now we're used to ridiculous requirements. We're used to taking trash characters up to horrible crequirements for Galactic Legends, like Royal Guard, Krennic, Darth Sidious, Darth Maul. I mean, Sith Eternal Emperor is a prime example of the horrible requirements. Basically just taking horrible characters and putting them to gear levels that should only be reserved for really good characters that are not at that tier level. So yeah, that for me, that includes Bo-Katan, Aayla, and Mace, which is 3 out of the 4 characters that were mentioned. So let's quickly go over those. Aayla has a Cantina node that you can farm, so she's really easy to get to 6 stars. Cantina nodes, in my opinion, is the easiest farm that you can have. In addition to that, I'm pretty sure she is also in the guild currency store, so she will be a quick 7-star farm. In terms of gear, if I remember correctly, she's not the friendliest to gear. So, I mean, that's not going to be fun, but it never is with this sort of stuff. Then we have Mace Windu. He's extremely easy to 7-star because he's in the Squad Arena store. So, and I'm pretty sure anyone who's going for, at the point where they'd even consider going for a Galactic Legend will already have Mace Windu at 7-star. So, not even a problem. But Relic 3, obviously. So Mace Windu and Aayla really aren't going to be a problem to unlock and get to 7 stars. The problem is just going to be wasting that gear on them. Bo-Katan was a new release marquee character, and this is what CG does. If we look at Sith Eternal Emperor, they did the same thing with Admiral Piet. He was just released as a marquee, and then they made him one of the requirements. And so the reason why they're doing this is they want you to spend and buy the packs. And then they did this with Luke, but they did it with 2 things instead of just 1. So I'm hoping they only do it with 1 on Kenobi. They did it with Mon Mothma and 3PO and Chewie. So it was pretty nasty. So getting Bo-Katan, not only is she pretty stinking bad, but she's going to be hard to farm. She's going to be one shard at a time because she's not going to be an accelerated farm. So that leaves us with the Negotiator and General Kenobi, and I will go over the Negotiator first. So the Negotiator requirement was 7 stars, and if you don't know, the only way to get Negotiator shards is through the Guild Event store, and it takes this Mark II Guild Event tokens. These are really hard to get unless you're in a high-end guild, so this is not gonna be a Galactic Legend that is friendly to new players, unless it's a new account that is owned by a player that has access to a really good guild. New accounts aren't really gonna want to pay attention to this, so this is not a good starting GL. If you want a good starting GL, I'd recommend Palpatine or Kylo Ren. Kenobi's not going to be the way to go, mainly because of this Negotiator requirement. And 6 stars isn't too bad. They could have gone for 7 stars and screwed us over, but I am surprised because I believe for people like Rey, the requirement for the Radis was like 4 stars. I'm not too sure about the requirements because I have not gone for 5 stars. Okay, so again, we're increasing the requirement here for the ship, which is a little strange to me, seeing how hard it already is to get the Negotiator. So I'm a little upset about that they're screwing over half of the player base, or however much of the player base it is. I don't like how CG is doing that and making it such a high requirement unlock. But you could argue they could have made it worse. But as you can see, if I wanted to get it, I have some work to do. Mine is only at 5 star. Now, the last character that they've released about requirements is General Kenobi, and you need him at Relic 8. And as of now, the only way to get Relic 8 materials, I believe, is if you are able to complete hard on the Galactic Conquest, or if you are able to complete the heroic or the challenge tier Rancor raid. And that is something that very few people are able to do unless they are in a top end guild. And again, the only way you can beat hard in Conquest is if you have over 4 million GP, I think. So that is not something that is friendly to new accounts. So this Galactic Legend is very similar to Galactic Legend Luke, in that it will be easier to unlock if you have been playing this game for a longer amount of time, which is not necessarily the case for SLKR or Palpatine. It's pretty similar. It's pretty similar all around for new players and old players for those two Galactic Legends in terms of ease in unlocking them. So the Relic 8 is a paywall, which I don't like, because unless you're in a really good guild or you've been playing for a really long time, I think the pack price in order to get a Relic 8 is $50, and they're gonna make you spend $50 on General Kenobi to unlock Jedi Master Kenobi. So to encapsulate this video, I think that Jedi Master Kenobi is looking to be an end of the game player's Galactic Legend. If you are excited about this release but you are an early player, my advice to you is get in a good guild and get in it fast, because you're going to need Relic 8 materials and you're going to need the Negotiator. Other than that, it seems like a pretty standard GL release, but the Negotiator requirement and the General Kenobi Relic 8 requirement is very dubious. I don't think it's fair, and I don't agree with how they're releasing it, because the paywall is not something that it's something that we've experienced in Galaxy of Heroes, but Obviously, we don't want to see a paywall persist where it doesn't need to. So I'm not happy with that. But in terms of future releases, I do think the next requirements will be along the lines of other Jedi Council members. There is a possibility that they require a 7-star Ki-Adi-Mundi, or a certain star Ki-Adi-Mundi, maybe like a 5-star, which would be evil. But it's a possibility because he was on the Jedi Council, and that's something that they may be going with this theme that we saw with Aayla and Mace Windu. Another Jedi that I would keep an eye out and start farming would be Amagun Dai, because he's on a hard node and he's on the Jedi Council, so I think that's someone that they would definitely think about requiring. So really quick, to end this off, I'm just gonna give some advice and say, who should you start working on 7-starring? Obviously Mace, possibly Plo, definitely Qui-Gon. I don't know how I didn't think of this earlier, but I mean, if they don't make Qui-Gon a requirement, then I don't know what they're doing. So if you want this Galactic Legend, mark Qui-Gon down and start farming immediately. Then I'd keep my eye out on characters like Amagun Dai, Luminara, and I'd be very doubtful of Eth Koth, but there's a possibility. And I mean, there's really nothing you can do about Ki-Adi-Mundi if that is a requirement. But yeah, I mean, this is an exciting moment because we're gonna get an amazing character, a new addition. But it's also kind of sad because this character is being paywalled, and it's gonna be very hard for kind of mid-tier players like myself to unlock them. So we'll see how the requirements roll out and what'll happen. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, bye bye.